Fasting seems to be the new trend or the new in vogue for weight loss. Many of my patients have been asking questions about my opinion on fasting, so I put together some basic facts to help you. Hi, my name is Marcia Roy Madison. I'm a family nurse practitioner. I'm going to give you some pros and cons about fasting. I was watching the Discovery Channel one day, and they were talking about how the leaves turn brown on trees during the winter and fall. Well, it turns out that it's not only the sun that's turning those leaves brown during the fall and winter, it's actually the roots. The roots are pulling the moisture from the leaves, pulling the nutrients away from the leaves to conserve that energy through the winter. Likewise, our bodies go through a similar process called autophagy. Autophagy actually happens every night during sleep. Autophagy is where the body cleans up all the dead cells and the sick cells and restores energy to the new and healthy cells. That's why I use the analogy about the tree and the leaves and how it compares to our body. This immune system housekeeping process, the immune system is going to take the nutrients away from the dead and sick cells and save that energy and nutrients for the healthy cells. This is where patients are using fasting for weight loss, but the real pro of fasting is the healing process, where the inflammatory disorders go into remission, where the skin clears up, where the healing happens. All right, so let's talk about the cons of fasting. Within the first 24 hours, you are going to get some weight loss, but that's really due to electrolyte imbalance from the fluid loss. Your body is going to want to pee out all of that debris and the waste products, so you're going to lose a lot of water or fluid. This can also, within 24 hours, you also become more irritable. You become moody. And this is your body's way of trying to get you to find food because your body wants energy. At 36 hours, the body goes into glycolysis. This is where the liver and the muscles are giving up their glucose storages for energy. 48 hours, you're going into ketosis, which is where fat is breaking down into fatty acid. This is lipolysis, where fat is broken down into fatty acid. This will be considered as dirty fuel, and glycolysis is clean fuel. I just want to mention one more thing. At 48 hours, actually, remember I said at 24 hours you become irritable and grumpy? This is your brain trying to get you to go find food. Likewise, if you notice, if you don't eat right when you're feeling hungry, you stop being hungry all of a sudden. At 48 hours, this is very common. You lose your appetite. You're not really hungry. You actually experience a little euphoria. It's almost as if your body wants you to go find food. It doesn't want you to be irritable. It wants you to be happy. So your metabolism slows down, your hunger goes away, and this is when people can go further and further into, a couple of weeks or a 40-day fast because they've lost their appetite, metabolism has slowed down. At 72 hours, you're at risk for what we call Refeeding Syndrome. This is from your electrolyte imbalance, nutrient deficiencies. It can develop into something called Wernicke's or Korsakoff syndrome. We see it with alcoholics who are malnourished. It can cause confusion and even brain damage. Refeeding syndrome basically means that when you get ready to start taking in glucose from your food, even if you bite into an apple, you can pretty much throw your body into shock. In the emergency room, when a person is malnourished, we used to give them something called a banana bag. It would have thiamine in it. It would have phosphorus. It has those electrolytes put into the bag of fluid before we try to feed them, because you could really damage the cells. It's almost like trying to drive a car with no oil. You've been driving the car, the oil light is on, but you want to keep driving. If you don't put that oil in the car, it will damage the engine. If you do not replenish those electrolytes, you will damage the cells and go into Wernicke's or Korsakoff syndrome. Another thing that happens at 72 hours is gluconeogenesis. Gluco means glucose sugar. Neo means new. Genesis, beginning. So what's happening here? This is where your liver this is where your body is basically going to start breaking down protein. The brain is 100% glucose dependent, so the brain is not going to want to use this fatty acid for energy. Your glucose storages are already gone from the muscle in the liver, so your brain is like, okay, well, where can I get glucose now? It's going to take protein from the muscle and go through this process of gluconeogenesis. This is what you see when people are fasting and they're losing all their muscle tone and muscle mass when they're fasting or even starvation. This is why I do not recommend fasting for anyone on medication. Please talk to your doctors. Weight loss is a consequence of cleaning out all of that debris in the system. It's water loss. It's not that you're actually losing inches. As a wrap up, fasting is great for autophagy. If I didn't mention it before, you can get autophagy through exercise. 60 minutes of moderate exercise will give you autophagy. Going to bed at night will give you autophagy. Those are the pros, but the cons are going to be the weight loss, the muscle mass that you're going to lose, Wernicke's-Korsakoff syndrome. This is just a basic overview of fasting. If you're on any medication, please talk to your doctor. Do your own research. This is just an intro to what fasting is really all about. If you learned something from the video, please like. If you have family members or friends who may benefit from the videos, please share and subscribe for more of this content.